Hello and welcome to National Focus. I'm your presenter Mervin. Thank you for joining us. In the headlines, DLP administration remains committed to public officers. The review is ongoing on the country's income tax regime, and government secures $122 million loan to enhance road network in the southeast. Details of the headline stories and more coming up. Welcome back. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit says his administration remains committed to the development of the island's public officers. In an interview with GIS News last Friday, the Dominica leader gave examples of the efforts by his government to improve the lives of government employees.
We have made loans available to public officers at 4% and 5% respectively. We have gone to Parliament to amend the law to allow for public officers who are not established to access these loans. That was never happening before. We've allowed for training opportunities for public officers. Before we came into office, one must ask ourselves, how many primary school teachers had a degree? Far more a master's degree, far more a PhD, and so forth. And we have been able to train scores of primary school teachers, scores of primary school principals, and get them to their first degree, get them to the master's degree. We have taken ward aides and made them nurses, and we have taken messengers and upgrade them by training, and now they are senior clerks, junior clerks in the public service, elevating people.
The Dominica leader noted that there was tangible evidence of government's commitment to public officers even after the ravages of Hurricane Maria.
After the hurricane, any country would have been decimated by a storm like this, with no tax revenue for several months, would have sent people home. But we have not sent one person home. Every person has been kept, including those who were, at the time of the hurricane, employed for a few weeks. The people are still employed. The double bubble, so-called double bubble, which is double salary. No public officer expected the government to pay this double salary after the hurricane. But I felt, as Prime Minister, that the public officers needed the money more than ever, and we made this sacrifice and paid them this double salary 1 month after the hurricane. 1 month after the hurricane, tax-free.
Prime Minister Skerrit mentioned some of the other interventions by his administration which has improved the lives of public officers.
And the majority, if not all public servants who are doing and who have done a course of study since this government came into office, we have assisted those persons financially by way of tuition and other fees. And don't talk about housing assistance. Many public officers are benefited from home repair programs and various kinds of government social interventions. Income tax on pensions. When I came in as Prime Minister, I was shocked to know that people were paying income tax on their pension. I'm saying, these people have worked all their lives, they've paid their taxes, now they're enjoying a little retirement benefits. Why should we be taxing them? Why should we be taxing somebody who is 70 years, 75 years old, 80 years old? What wasn't done? And I immediately went to the Parliament and removed the income tax on people's pensions. Today, you can go home with your pension, without having to pay any income tax. And that's what this Labour Party government has done. Only part they can speak to a number of very important interventions where public officers are concerned.
In more news, the government of Dominica has secured a loan of $122 million to significantly enhance the road network in the southeast. This was confirmed recently by Minister for Public Works, Water Resource Management and Ports, Honorable Dr. John Colin McIntyre.
What we're going to do is a loan from the World Bank, and we're going to look at building a road from Point Bokase to Hatton Garden via Cassibros and the Kalinago territory, as well as Cassibros to Petit Soufriere, a brand new road. This road is going to cost us $122 million. This government sees it fit that we have to treat the people of the Northeast positively. That is why we are investing in your future. And I'm saying to you, do not take these things for granted.
The Public Works Minister also announced plans by his ministry to increase the number of streetlights across the country.
Yeah, we have the weaknesses with the solar streetlights. We have found that some of the areas are very dark. And as I speak with you, we're going to be repairing and buying certain parts so we can strengthen the solar light system, as well as buying some brand new solar lights. And we want to use them all throughout Dominica.
Students from 6 primary schools in the east of the island received the school supplies last week. The supplies were donated to the schools as a result of a collaborative effort of various telecommunication companies under the C7 initiative. Many schools in the east were severely damaged during Hurricane Maria in September 2017. Education Officer Raymond Henderson says while the rebuilding process will be long, education remains an important aspect of recovery. He added that the Ministry of Education remains committed to the education of the country's youth.
After Hurricane Maria, the recovery and rebuilding effort was always going to be a long, protracted one. So every effort, every bit of help from an institution like Canto and its partners with Digicel, who are focusing on making sure that you will be back on your feet again after Hurricane Maria, is very important. Remember that the recovery and the rebuilding process is a long one, and we can't give you everything one time. We have to give it to you bit by bit, and that's how we are continuing today, all right? So you have a building again, but now you need materials to help you learn better and to continue being the bright students that you've always been. So today we're giving you materials that can help you continue with your learning as the Ministry of Education supports learning throughout the island, but particularly you, as this is the project for your part of the island, okay? So once again, we're very happy as the Ministry of Education to support you in your learning, particularly in the efforts after Hurricane Maria.
Meanwhile, Executive Assistant of Tripp Wireless, Taylor Wheater, says that Tripp Wireless and Canto are pleased to be able to assist in the rebuilding of the country's education sector post-Maria.
We've partnered with Canto to make these donations today to you, obviously because you had such a scary storm 2 years ago and you're still recovering. And I would love to say to you today that you have all been extraordinarily brave, and I know that you are going to continue to be bright and wonderful students, and the least we can do is to give you some supplies to help you continue to grow and learn and be the future of this island.
The Dominical Red Cross, after the passage of Tropical Storm Erica in 2015 and Hurricane Maria in 2017, assisted Dominicans with direct cash assistance through the Society's Cash Transfer Program. The Cash Transfer Program supports vulnerable families who have been severely impacted by storms. Representative of the Dominical Red Cross, Dante Moses, gave details about the program.
So basically the cash transfer program would support a beneficiary as it's a dignifying method basically. So instead of giving somebody a pail or something direct, you give them the option to get what they need, because we might not be able to, let's say at the time if they need to pay a loan, at the time they need to go to school or pay a rent or something. So this is just a dignifying method of supporting the beneficiary.
Moses explained how persons could receive cash in the event they meet the criteria.
What we did was through debit cards, and we have examples of the cards right there. So we have examples of the card, but you could do it through different modalities. For example, cash for work, where we did it in our shelter program, where we supported the people from the community, where they were paid to build homes for people. So this in turn actually brings back income to the community. And whenever we do our transfer amounts, we do have to do market assessments, availability, for example, before we even choose a modality, because we had to figure out that the ATMs were working before we even decided to do with cards. You could also do it with cash in envelope. So there are different modalities for cash transfer programming. And in selecting the transfer method, for Hurricane Maria, we decided that we took into consideration the support for temporary shelter. The inflation was also a criteria, as well as 1 month of income minimum wage.
A review is underway of Dominica's income tax regime. This was confirmed by Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit during an interview with GIS News last Friday.
On average, public officers pay about $100 in income tax, all because of the changes we have made with the income tax arrangement. And as we speak, we have now a technical assistance agreement, reviewing the income tax regime in Dominica. Because it is my hope that we can bring the income tax rates to zero in Dominica. And if not for fiscal purposes, look at having a single rate of income tax in Dominica, so that people would go home with either all of their money or most of their money and let them spend it as they so wish, because it's their property.
You're watching National Focus. More when we return.
I've worked in the service industry for 9 years, and I love it because of the people I get to meet every day. And that's one of the reasons I went back to college, to be better able to serve the tourists when they come to our destination and to be able to learn more about Dominica. I love learning more about Dominica because the more I learn, the more I can share. And I just want to share Dominica with everyone. I'm from Munjan, which is in the southeast of Dominica, and have lived overseas for 24 years. Living overseas has made me appreciate Dominica and all it has to offer, like taking a walk in the forest, going to the botanical garden, or even drinking fresh Sus water. I never thought I could miss green so much. Even as a student, I'm still directly linked to the tourism industry, from something as simple as giving directions to tourists, or even more involved, like an internship at a hotel, or a cleanup campaign with DHTA. As a tourism student, I have made the decision to take my place in this tourism industry. My name is Lucina Nicholas, and tourism is my business.
Ten students of the Dominica Community High School recently bid farewell to their alma mater. Janaya Kopel was named the top student of the graduating class, taking home the awards for academic achievement and Student of the Year, as well as leadership, responsibility, and steady application. He also took the subject prizes in English language, agricultural science, principles of business, Spanish, Caribbean history, social studies, integrated science, geography, human and social biology, and mathematics. Featured speaker and past student of the Dominical Community High School, Dr. Ian James, told students to focus on their goals.
My fellow students, I was focused, I achieved, and ultimately I succeeded. And you too can be focused, achieve, and succeed. The epistle of James puts it well. Faith by itself, it has no works, is dead. Ethical work often involves glaring in the vineyard of injustices while trying to make things better. This work is often difficult, unpopular, and unappreciated, but it can be self-sustaining to those of us with ambition and dreams to succeed.
He noted that to succeed, they must surround themselves with positive people.
No person can achieve self-mastery on his or her own. Everybody needs redemptive assistance from outside, from your family, friends, and believers in God, as Father Branca John said. We all need people to tell us when we are wrong, to advise us how to do right, to encourage, support, and inspire us along the way.
Dr. James further encouraged the students to continue to work hard to make themselves and their alma mater proud.
Keep the faith, dream big, do good things for your community, continue to set and commit goals that brings you, your family, and your alma mater pride. Remember, when doubt sets in, as it will, turn up the volume in your head that says, yes, I can.
The Dominica Library and Information Service is observing Library Week 2019 from May 13 to 18 under the theme Libraries Are for Everyone. Library Week is observed by many countries annually to celebrate the contribution of libraries and library workers while promoting library use and support. This week's activities include a promotional drive on the use of the library at the Roseau branch, as well as the creation of a library wall, an Eat Fish Day exhibition, and information initiatives. In accordance with this year's theme, the Library and Information Service continues to focus on restoration of services post-Hurricane Maria. Among major achievements, a new space was opened for the Roseau Public Library and work advanced on the rehabilitation of the Portsmouth Library. The National Archives completed digitization of the almanacs, and 5 new online services were launched by the service. The DLIS is encouraging all school libraries to host Library Week events with fun activities for children to include games, treasure hunts, storytelling, painting, and drawing at the various library centers. And that's National Focus. Before we leave, a look at your weather. A high-pressure system is the dominant across the Lesser Antilles, resulting in breezy conditions, particularly across the islands to the south. Some cloudiness is expected during the next 24 to 48 hours, with isolated showers mainly in the interior of the island. A plume of Saharan dust is expected to persist over the area during the next couple of days. This is expected to restrict shower activity across the island despite increased cloudiness. Moderate seas are expected during the next 24 hours with waves up to 8 feet. Small craft operators and sea bathers on the east coast should exercise caution. Coming up next, your tip of the day. Today we'll bring you some tips for surviving hot weather conditions. Because our bodies sweat more in hot weather, it is really important to replenish lost water levels. Our physical thirst is not a very reliable indicator of how dehydrated we are, so you should try to drink plenty before you feel parched. Try not to drink too much caffeine or alcohol, as they can increase dehydration. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS Dominica on Facebook as well as on Twitter at GIS Dominica. From all of us here on the GIS News Production team, I'm Mervin. Thank you for watching.